99% of business owners don't understand why they procrastinate. They have stuff they know they should do to grow their business. They know it'll work if they do it. They plan on doing it. They tell themselves they'll do it, but they don't do it. They procrastinate, they self-sabotage, they do anything and everything except the thing that makes growth happen. And it's all because they don't understand this one simple psychological truth. If growing your business is going to make your life worse, you won't do it. If growing your business is going to make your life better, you will. You won't need to go searching for motivation. You won't need to read books to get inspired. You won't need morning rituals or cold plunges to get you focused and in the zone. You'll just wake up and go, growing your business like a maniac. The mistake entrepreneurs make is not understanding the psychological side effects and consequences of their business growth goals. Let me tell you a story to explain this. I just spoke to a client who had this exact problem. Founder of a B2B software as a service company. Incredible niche, serving a super lucrative elite type of customers, solving a huge problem they'll pay a ton of money to fix. It's high touch. She does the sales herself, but it's totally worth it. Every time she meets someone in her target market, they're screaming at her to shut up and take their money. And she's been stuck on a plateau for years, making the same revenue, the same net profit. She procrastinates doing follow-up with these sizzling hot sales leads. She calls me up, the Shrink for Entrepreneurs, to ask, am I crazy? What's wrong with me? I want growth. I want to make more money. I literally just don't do the things right in front of me that bring in new clients. Sounds crazy, right? She's not. No one's crazy. Humans are all the same. We're all driven by the same things. So I start to probe into this founder's life. She's earning good money, living a lifestyle of the top 1%. She's only working a few hours a day. She even enjoys prospecting for sales, making sales presentations and getting people to say they're in. Life is good for this person, but she feels a lot of guilt and shame because it could be even better. So even I cannot believe this. I ask her, can you just add these clients to your SaaS product and they just use the software and bill over and over again and just love it? Yes, she says. Once they're set up, I do nothing. Whoa, wait a second. What about onboarding? Oh my God, she says, I hate it. We quickly figure out that this entrepreneur has built a 100% bootstrap cash flowing SaaS company with incredible high retention, where just a few big sales closing creates life-changing income. But that getting clients onboarded to the platform successfully is painstaking, detailed, long, hard work that she has completely left on her desk. She's the only person in her company who does it. If growing your business is gonna make your life worse, you won't do it. Growing her business by even adding just one more client would result in her having to do a ton of boring administrative work to onboard the client business and all of its users. Instead of working a half day keeping her existing income flowing, she's grinding to add a little bit more revenue. There is a mental equation that your brain is constantly doing at an unconscious level. Is this thing I want to do going to result in more pleasure than the suffering of effort that I will have to invest to make it happen? Inside all of us is this deep unconscious intelligence whose prime directive is moving us away from pain and suffering and toward pleasure and enjoyment. It's the most ancient intelligence we have in an evolutionary sense because it's what makes a single cell bacteria squiggle away from something that'll hurt it and inch closer to something that'll feed it. We've gotten a bit smarter than a single cell organism though. Our brains do understand that we can do something uncomfortable today in order for a payoff of pleasure in the future. So why wasn't my client motivated to sell to her prospects who were begging to be sold to? Because for her, where she was at in life and business, the future pleasure of adding one more client was actually pretty marginal because of the law of diminishing returns. There was a bit of psychological joy to be gained, for sure. But because she's already got enough clients to get by, to live a pretty great life, each client is a little bit less exciting when she thinks about adding them. But the grind of her onboarding process she has to do today if she gets a client signed up, that hasn't diminished. If anything, she's got more bored by that now than when she started. She's sick of it. Her unconscious mind does this simple expected value calculation. Is today's client onboarding grind worth tomorrow's increase in revenue? For this founder, the answer in her past was yes, it is. But when she got enough income to satisfy her basic needs, adding one more client wasn't really going to materially change anything. So the answer changed to a no. What's the big epiphany here? The problem isn't her or her psychology. It's her business model.
I know it.
An entrepreneur is someone who invents a business idea and along the way invents all the jobs that need to be done inside that business idea. Sometimes the best person to do a job inside of a business is the entrepreneur who thought of it all. But almost always that will put a limit on how big the business can be, because eventually the entrepreneur gets too busy or too content and is no longer motivated to grow. The business hits a plateau. What my client realized is that she loves the sales part of what she does. She's glad she hired herself to do the sales. She's the best person to do that. But her business model needed to be tweaked. She needed to add a dedicated onboarding specialist, a customer success person whose sole job was taking a client from that sales meeting with a verbal agreement to sign up and getting that agreement papered as a contract, getting them and their staff onboarded onto the platform, and using the software tool successfully. Instead of hiring herself for that job, my client needed to outsource it to an employee and thereby outsource the mental, emotional cost of doing that repetitive administrative work. As soon as that onboarding specialist employee is in place, this entrepreneur's entire psychological relationship to her business transforms.
Oh, does that feel good? Oh, I'm free! I'm free at last!
Now the mental cost, the pain and suffering of onboarding, and an emotional sense, has gone to zero. Every client that gets added to this business makes the entrepreneur's life better because it doesn't add work to their plate, but it does add cash flow to their bottom line. Even though this entrepreneur is content and their life is good, now when they do a sales meeting, which they enjoy by the way, there is no reason whatsoever mentally not to follow up and close that prospect. The activation energy required, the sacrifice today to create something positive and enjoyable in the future just went way down. It becomes a no-brainer to close sales. This is the most critical thing you have to understand if you're an entrepreneur and you want to build something big, if you want to scale a business. Every business hits an invisible ceiling, a plateau. At any stage, the founder's life becomes worse when a customer is added. This is why service businesses hit plateaus all the time. An amazing agency owner or a lawyer or someone like that will only grow to the point they're maniacally busy, and adding another client would actually make their life worse, not better. That's where it stops. The key is to create a business where each new customer drives a virtuous cycle for your business, getting more revenue and becoming more fun to operate. Where the more revenue you do, the more you can do. There's a simple question you can ask to root out the truth about your business model and if it's got a plateau coming for you in your future. If I handed you a magic button where one press makes your business double immediately, what would happen to your life if you pushed it? Truly, what would it be like? The right answer is, well, I'd need to hire a lot more people, but assuming if I could do that before I push the button, I'd be good to go. If that's your answer, you're plateau proof. You're building something bigger than yourself that can not just operate, but can scale while you sleep. But if your answer is that you'd go crazy pulling 16-hour days to do the work that customers require of you, that if you push that button, you'd have to stop seeing your kids, that you'd need to half or 1/4 or 1/8 push the button a little bit at a time, then your business model is the kind of business model that creates procrastination. This is your PSA that if you've got one of those businesses and you find yourself hesitating, self-sabotaging, not doing the stuff that you know you should be doing, it's not your fault. It's the business model and its psychological side effects. Your unconscious mind is protecting you from some unintended consequences of growing that business that would make your life very uncomfortable if you were to do so. The biggest motivational hack of all time is changing your business model to one where more sales, more customers makes your life more better and you happier. Doing that will unlock more natural, effortless, passionate motivation than you ever thought possible.